Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Chupacabra's Lair. I'm your host, Larry, and we're back for another edition of Larry Does Ludum, taking a look at some of the awesome game entries for Ludum Dare number 38, whose game jam theme this time around was a small world. And that could be anywhere from like a literal small world to, in this case, a small campground where we are playing in like a Hunger Games type scenario where we have to fend off other campers and try not to die in a lovely low poly environment. In fact, that's the reason why I grabbed this game today out of the various posts that I was looking at on the website from back when I left it open like a week ago. And yeah, it's basically like a little arena shooter that you can just go around mauling your friends, and it even has online multiplayer support, although I haven't been able to reliably connect to any of my friends in order to test that out. So Kill Boom is a jam entry, and it's created by what looks like either Headlean or Headlion, and we're gonna check it out. Let's just dive in here. Actually, hold on, let's see if we can find a game first. There might be someone online playing this. Maybe not. Yeah, alright. I didn't think so. I tried to get a multiplayer match earlier today, to no avail. So let's just jump into single player, and I'll show you what this game looks like with some of the derpier AIs. So we spawn in here in a campground, and there's basically just a sea of these guys over here who are just trying to maul everything they can to death, like, in their path. They're just a bunch of dudes with guns. Crazy, crazy people with guns. And yeah, they just kind of swarm after you and try to kill you, and you just shoot them with whatever gun you happen to have until you run out of ammunition, and then you just wait and see if you can't pick up one of their guns. And in this little area, like, you shoot them, and then more spawn from the sky, generally around or pretty close to you, although it is getting a little bit framey as some of this grass loads in. I'll just shoot you guys. And that's about it. Like, this is a game that you would be playing with like a bunch of your random friends, just mauling things and shooting things, and trying not to get murdered. And also you can jump into a car. Did I mention the part where you can drive around in a nearly indestructible car that will eventually light on fire GTA style? Because you can. And in this case, it works about as well as you would expect, crammed into the corner of a map randomly. Can I get this? Is that a thing? I kind of want to kill people with a sledgehammer or a shovel. That would be actually kind of cool. And, I mean, the thing that drew me to this game originally was the graphics. My main issue with the graphics, though, is this: I just kind of wish that you could zoom out a little bit or change your angle of fire so you could maybe get into a first-person mode. Because I haven't so far been able to get any of that. Is there a first-person mode? I don't think there is. If there is, then I can't seem to activate it. But I like the graphics to it, but there's not a lot to say about the gameplay. This is the kind of game that doesn't necessarily work super well unless you get a bunch of friends together. And to that mark, I feel like this could potentially be a really good game to make a open-ended drop-in, drop-out type of game like a Gario, where you just load in, you get a randomly generated character, and then you can either fight for yourself, or you could fight with like a predetermined, randomly selected team. And then the whole goal would be that you fight in this game over like terrain or cool stuff in the environment that gives you a tactical edge in the fighting. Like maybe there's like a camp counselor building that's like, looks like a castle. And if you take it over, you can use like some crazy weapon that they have to shoot moose and fight off other players. And then that would give you an incentive to like take over cool terrain. You could do it where they're just fighting over pickups or drops or cool vehicles that spawn occasionally. Like, you get a lot of options here. And I think that would be a really cool direction to go in with a game like this if you decided to expand upon this idea. As it stands, there's really not... Oh, here's the car. There's really not a lot to say about it right now. I'm also really not certain how this game fits into the theme of a small world. Granted, this is a small map size, but this feels like it could be a bigger world that we're just having some sort of post-apocalyptic nightmare training camp. So, I don't know. I also think that the controls could do a little cleaning up if you do make it so that someone can switch into different angles of camera controls. Because at present, like, the gunfire is the derpiest thing on the planet. Like, it took me forever to die here with a score of 39 murders. And I feel like that could maybe be easier. So I could run and then click behind me and my character stops for a sec, whips around, shoots. And then when I stop shooting, it whips back around and continues running in the direction I was going. I don't know. There's lots of options there. So let's try messing around with that car really fast. So overall, like, I think it looks cool, but it kind of plays jankily. And that I would just chalk up to not a lot of time to refine the game or give people a lot of options. And that would certainly be one of them. Then you could even give it so that, like, your score has some type of value in the greater game itself. Like, why do I want a big score? I mean, sure, it looks nice on the leaderboard, but does that get me a better chance at getting, like, a super cool weapon, like whatever that thing is over here? Because whatever this is... No, don't get in the car. I want whatever... Dang it! I gotta drive the car away for a sec. Which is now on fire, so I'm not gonna play with that. Oh, it's like a little grenade launcher. That's kind of cool. Yeah, there's a lot of different directions this can go. It's a very basic type of prototype right now, so I'm really having trouble deciding what direction I think it could go in, and also what particular feedback to give. It's very raw. Also, it gets super duper framey when that grass loads in. This is running in the Unreal Engine, and I don't know if there's a way to, like, optimize that, but I would certainly give people the option to turn off the grass. Because the grass is... It doesn't want to let me go to the menu. Oh, there it goes. The grass is, like, the biggest contributing factor to making this game super duper laggy. So just a quick button here to change. Yeah, it doesn't look like you can change the view angles yet. But I would definitely recommend that if you expand upon it. So I like the concept, super raw. Don't know if it really fits the theme all that well, and that's about my primary feedback. So, nice job, Headlean. And I will catch you on the flip side. Let me know if you make changes to this. I'd love to see what direction this game goes in the future. Alright, for the second game of this particular episode of Larry Does Ludum, we have No Minor Task, Party of a Lifetime. And this is a game that's made by a gent named Xavier and his team of indies. This is a jam entry. And they have created a game that encompasses what it's like to be a teenager trying to hold the party of a lifetime, which means we have to go and get ourselves some booze and invite literally 200 classmates to our party while our parents will probably be out of town or, like, off at the other side of town for whatever reason. And this was an interesting entry into the game jam for a number of reasons, mostly that it's been a really long time since I've seen a group create a game that has a very lengthy intro sequence that is almost like an interactive visual novel type cinematic where, well, maybe not so much interactive, but it definitely has like a funny cinematic intro where you can really get a taste for the humor of the game, even if it doesn't necessarily translate directly into the later gameplay. So let's just jump right in here. Hit enter. There we go. Day, Thursday. Time of day, night. Goal, buy alcohol for awesome party tomorrow night, of course. Although I like how you guys abbreviated tomorrow and then didn't abbreviate the much longer line below it. Problem, not old enough to buy alcohol. Solution, a convincing disguise. And here is our protagonist right now. Places a big box of liquor on the counter. And gives a very convincing smile. But not very convinced, the cashier isn't. He wants to see my ID. And still not convinced. Hey you, generic police officer over there, come here for a sec. Yes, what is it? This ID, do you reckon it's real? Because it kind of looks like it's photoshopped and printed on, like, old cardboard cutouts. What do you mean, it's not just because he's got a mustache. That doesn't mean he's old enough. Muffled voice, yes, sirree do. Yes, I am a big adult man, sir. See? What do you mean he's not an adult? Whatever. Quickly buys drinks and leaves store. You know that mustache wasn't real, right? Huh? Yeah, it's obviously just a kid wearing his dad's jacket in a Groucho Marx disguise. Groucho what? Will somebody please think of the children? We can't have our little angels destroying their brain cells so young with these horrid alcoholic beverages, says the woman in a liquor store. And we can't have drunk kids throwing up all over our golf course. I mean, is throw up really such a problem? I mean, you could hose down most barf with just a quick rinse with the hose. They've got sprinkler systems on golf courses. Alright, so the cop has kind of figured out that perhaps maybe we weren't legit. And now they're going to form a coalition to try and stop all the alcoholism. And this lady is fantastically able to feint and unfaint. It's a remarkable life skill. If I could pretend to do that, I'd probably, I don't know, pretend I was a possum. And then, of course, here's the Lord of the Rings joke. And you've got my golf buggy. And he's got an axe back here. Like, and my axe. I like the humor of this, I gotta say. I can't say that about a lot of games. Phew, almost got caught there. Changes out of disguise, I'm so excited to host my very own party. I'm gonna invite like a bajillion people, and then I will finally be cool. Shouts, you're not cool and your disguise is bad. Shut up, hobo. You're not my real hobo, Dad. Oh, hey, that's right, he does yell at him. And then he runs home crying because he's, I guess, wearing mascara or something. Hey, homeless guy, we have to set up a very serious blockade and try to stop these underage alcohol smuggler once and for all. And now the hobo's mad at us too because we ruined his place to sleep. And now he's gonna get revenge. But he's gonna have to get it in the next leg of this episode, or of this game, in the next level. So not only are they having a weird intro sequence, but then they're just like walking through the fourth wall too. You're not, how dare you be such rebels? Xavier and his team. So basically, now we just play like an avoidance game where we try not to get touched by the adults when they're red and angry, because that means they're suspicious of us. And we're just trying to shove as many classmates as we can into our coat before anyone gets to be the wiser. And that's the primary gameplay. I will say that after that kind of cool intro, I was a little bit let down of basically just a game where you just grab people by running into them and kidnapping them sweetly. And then we just avoid all the adults who make up that lady, her husband, who's that black guy, and then the cop, and also a bazillion hobos that are like on crack or something, who are just running around like insane crazy people. And then after we've gotten like 200 of our classmates, we have to book it back over into our house without getting grabbed by any of the adults, and then, you know, hold a sweet party. A sweet, sweet 16 party. And now it's gonna become super difficult because we kind of get down into Blockade Town. Who has this many people willing to help blockade a bunch of kids? If you did this at my house, or like when I was in high school, like, people would have been pissed. Like, calls would have been made. People would have not have been thrilled about this. And then once we get home, we have the outro cinematic, which is kind of cool. I personally have not managed to get all the way done with this because everybody has cloned themselves and multiplying worse than like 50 bajillion squirrels and rabbits. I don't even understand how this is fair. So my response to this game would be, I really love the intro. And I feel like you could turn this into more of an in-depth puzzle game and more of a visual novel style game with a lot of really funny writing and really goofy, like Napoleon Dynamite style antics, and you'd be probably good to go. Like, I like it so far, it's just, I feel like the gameplay is kind of a big letdown, and I'm just not doing it. So, am I home? Does this count as home? Did I do it? Yes! Also, I kind of feel like some of the art is a little back and forth in this game. Like, oh, are they my parents? The black guy and the blonde lady? Oh, that's great. All right, that works. That would explain why I wear... Am I a boy or a girl? I'm not actually sure. I might be either. There's almost like a green mascara on my face. But that said, like, I feel like my other piece of criticism is not all the art looks as well put together. Like, you started really detailed artwork at the beginning of the jam and then kind of run out of time and then just put some other stuff together. So maybe make the art look very unique and uniform, very stylistic to this game, and you'd be able to make something really goofy, funny, and interesting that people would like to play. Because, I mean, if you think about it, Steam is full of a lot of really goofy games that are kind of like that, where you've got Hatful Boyfriend where you date pigeons, and then another one where you date tanks. And, I mean, there's lots of room in this genre for people to go and experiment. And I think this is the right idea of just like a really goofy, zany, almost Napoleon Dynamite-esque adventure, and you could go really far with that. That said, the gameplay was kind of boring, but challenging just because you threw 50 clones of the same 3-4 people at me. So that was interesting, but really weird and crazy. So, something more interesting there, and you'd be good. Does it fit the jam theme, though? I guess, because, like, when you're a high school student, your world is high school social interaction and gossip as your budding, you know, post-pubescent brain is trying to figure out life and everything. I guess that fits. I'm not entirely 100% on that, but I will let the other people a part of the jam decide for themselves. So nice job, all of these folks here. And maybe pick a font that scales better, because like this font up here scales really nice when I blow this image up in my browser. But this font is all like kind of fuzzy and gray and hard to read, like it gets pixelated, I don't know. So either way, nice job, and away we go. All right, last up on our docket of the trifecta of games, we have Planet Landlord, which is made by Hampst. And this is a game all about helping intrepid galactic citizens find a place to live. Space is at a premium in our neck of the galaxy, and people are willing to pay astronomical prices in order to find a place to land their house. Basically, we are like a intergalactic RV park for cars. So what we have to do after we name our planet Larry Town, because it's the best town in town, basically we have to stack 3 different colors of houses so that they don't touch, because space is full of color-based racism, so if they touch, the houses will literally explode against each other and knock themselves off into space. And we don't really want that to happen, because if they get knocked off into space, they get mad. They report us to the Housing Bureau. And that just isn't good for our reputation. We might lose our license, and we're trying to make money. Like, I want to open up an intergalactic theme park, and I can't do that without the sweet dollary dues. And that's basically it. We have to worry about different sized houses with come in various different shapes and sizes, including, like, spherical houses, and try not to let them touch each other. So physics is a problem, and also overcrowding is a problem. And that's pretty much the name of the game. The theme, of course, with a small world fits here in a very obvious way of that this is a literal small planet with a giant platform on it where we have to stack little Jenga pieces so that they don't explode off into space. It's a very basic way of interpreting the theme, but I think it works okay. Now, I think my primary complaint about this game is that there's not a lot to do. Like, stacking games are not a particularly new concept. And I can certainly understand that if you were going to do stuff with this game, you'd have to build out from here. The goal of Ludum Dare is that you're trying to create a game in a very limited amount of time that you could then build out into a fully fleshed out project. Well, I mean, that's not the overall goal, but that's kind of what it ends up turning into. The overall goal is to get out of your comfort zone and make something when you might necessarily just start a project and not finish it. And I think this does the job very well. Don't push this sphere, other sphere, that would be rude. But this one, I feel like you could do this into like a proper business management sim. You know what I mean? Like, you could have to buy upgrades to build out your business. Maybe you have to hire people to help you place different buildings. Or maybe you could even get like an upgrade of a crane of some variety that would allow you to periodically, after the cooldown has come off, you could then reposition a certain number of apartment units until it's back off cooldown again. Lots of different things that you could spend your money on would be great, because at present, the only thing money does for you is act as a way to track your score. Which, while you can do that, it's not exactly the most exciting thing on the planet. So being able to use that for something would be nice. And then, of course, maybe introducing like a plethora of very bizarre house combinations, because if we're in space, I would expect to see a bunch of Star Trek houses that like go in and out of dimensions or turn into a UFO occasionally and try to abduct one of the smaller houses. And you can't let that happen because the housing authority will get mad at you. So you gotta be careful. Also, just more shapes would be nice. Oh, we just started a cascade. Alright. Time to just start piling them in. We can see what the fail state is. So basically, if enough people fall off the houses, or fall off this platform, we get reported to the housing authority, and we lose our real estate license, which kinda sucks. But that's just life as a tentacled landlord in space. But I mean, I just feel like there's a whole mess of stuff you could do with this game. You could do like combos, where if you get like a bunch of houses together in a fast enough time, you get a combo. I mean, I just remember another game that was very like this was Monsters Ate My Condo by Adult Swim Games, which is this crazy arcadey game about helping monsters eat a condo. And then after you got like a certain number of condos eaten and messed around with, you could like activate like a glowing combination of colors to get sick like abilities unlocked. That would be kind of neat, like if you could get stuff like that. The other thing that I wouldn't mind is the only thing that's really a problem in this game right now is the houses touching each other and knocking them off into space. It might be interesting to have a nemesis in this game, like a very kind of a lame duck nemesis that isn't especially dangerous, but is a constant nuisance. Kind of like the Yeti from Ski Free, the abominable snowman, which would run out from the trees and try to eat you if you didn't know that there was a dash button. And when I was growing up, I was the only one of my friends that knew that Ski Free had a dash button that would allow you to really quickly ski down the slope. Mostly because my sister showed it to me, but that's not the point. So you could have like a crazy UFO that might try to like kidnap your tenants or something. I don't know, but a villain would be good. And then maybe a goal, like am I trying to climb up the apartment condominium like corporate ladder and fight my way to get promoted? Like a goal would be nice as well, but I could definitely see this going in a lot of fun directions, so you definitely have a lot of options here. So very nice job, Hamst. Oh wait, the last thing was, I think you could do something crazier with the graphics, but if you left them as is and just went zany with it, that would be great too. And with a simple enough control set, you could probably just leave this as a single click game, which would make it really easy to put it out for mobile devices. So very nice job. And that'll be it for this rendition of Larry Does Ludum, everybody. I've been your host, Larry, the most delectable Chupacabra man. If you have more games to send my way to check out since the voting period has officially started, go ahead and send those to me in whatever way you see fit. You can direct message me on YouTube. I actually get notifications for that properly now. You can leave a comment, you can use my form, you can send it to me on Twitter. Wherever you can reach me, go ahead and do the stuff with the things. I will even check the posts that are attached to these videos that are on the website itself. And I think Mike might do a regular old-fashioned sticky that all of the video people will be able to post in. So, very nice job, everybody, once again, and I will catch you guys and gals and pan-dimensional indie developing creatures next time. Bye, everybody, and have a good one.